Hi, welcome to another edition of Pauline Interviews. Actually, I did this interview a few weeks ago with a man named Dave Markowitz. And I had asked him, I said, how did you describe yourself? He didn't like the term medical intuitive, but he's an author and he does so many different things. It was hard to come up with a title for him. So I asked him, how would you describe yourself? And this is what he said.
I help empaths and highly sensitive persons to heal and thrive.
Empaths and highly sensitive people. Tell us what a highly sensitive person is.
To me, a highly sensitive person is very literal, someone who's sensitive to thoughts, feelings, vibrations, experiences of other people, situations, rooms, and someone who's empathic takes it to the next level. They might actually embody what they're feeling, and that eventually becomes sort of like a way of being for that person.
Could you give us an example of somebody who's an empath? How would that embody, and would it physically, it could be detrimental to their health?
Oh, definitely, yeah. So just to compare, to make it more tangible, if you walked into a funeral and you didn't know anybody there, even without knowing someone there, you might feel some sadness in the room, and you might start expressing, or at least feeling, your own sadness. And that's, pretty normal because we all resonate with certain situations. Someone who's extra sensitive might take that up a couple of notches. An empath takes it to a whole nother level, whereas we not only just feel what's there, but we actually embody what's there. So we'll actually take home the grief from someone we don't even know. And that can build up and create pain and illness and blockages.
Are there a lot of people that are empaths?
There's an estimated 40 million
wow.
Sensitive persons in this country alone. I think everyone to some degree is empathic because, quantum physics is proving that we're all connected.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
But then there are those who are aware of it and those who are not aware of it. And for the people that I work with, typically they're recently becoming aware of that title and what that means, resonating with it, resonating with the whole idea of being extra nurturing and caring, and those are beautiful things. But what I've found is if they're done from a conditioned belief system as opposed to from the real truest heart space, it can create more pain, more blockages, more illness.
So it's done from a heart space, like say it's your child and you just want to help them and you feel their sorrow, that's a little bit healthier than doing it because you feel that you're supposed to help people. Is that sort of what you're saying?
Yeah, we want to get rid of it. It's like the pattern is kind of coming from should be and shouldn't be.
Rather than from, like unconditional love.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be a higher vibration, to me more heart-centered, pure compassion as opposed to over-responsibility.
I want to talk more about empaths and how you help them, but before I do that, I have a question about the highly sensitive person. Now, could some of that be coming too from the fact that we're so, the atmosphere is full of toxins and the people are getting all these autoimmune? Is that part of being a highly sensitive person too, because it's affecting you physically?
Things like environmental toxins are pretty much going to affect most, if not everybody. The sensitive person will be more conscious of what's going on with their body, and then more likely to report, hey, something's going on, can we look at this?
I hope my sister doesn't help, I hope she's not upset that I mentioned this, but my sister's more sensitive to like microwaves and things like that than I am. She's become very highly sensitive to that. And how would she get that way? I mean, and what can she do about it?
Well, the obvious thing would be to not use the microwave.
Yeah.
But, it's hard to, completely block ourselves from, radiation from cell phones, for example.
Yeah.
So some things, as we strengthen our own selves, will be better capable of handling those things. That doesn't mean we should test it by, drinking strychnine or something.
No, if you can.
But within a reason.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking too, when we go outside, I don't smell. I got a good sense of smell, but doesn't affect me as much to smell the gas, and I don't stand by the microwave. I don't even use a microwave.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I'm as sensitive to those environmental things as she is. So.
Yeah, everyone's different. People are made up of different, makeups, basically.
Right,
and
true.
Some are going to be very aware, some not so aware, and some will just be able to handle things better than other people do.
Yeah.
There's so many factors to that. It's just, you could say genetics, environment. That's a whole other.
And maybe when you grew up too, your health or whatever. I was a bigger one, so I won't get into that. But anyway, how did you get into we're going to talk about empaths. I'm really fascinated by that. But how did you get into this business?
It got into me more accurately. I didn't plan any of this.
You're obviously an empath.
Yeah, but I didn't want to admit that I was. So there were people that were telling me that I was, including, this was kind of interesting, a random meeting with someone who said, "You're an empath," to me several times over, and I kept saying, "No, no, no, leave me alone." I didn't really understand what the word was. I didn't like the label, and he kept saying it, and he said, "I'm the head of the now defunct Portland meetup for empaths, and I know when I see one, and you, sir, you're an empath." And I don't think so. And my aha moment, what might be called my empathic awakening, was after being out with a bunch of people at a bar crawl, my first one in many decades, and I don't drink alcohol, and that evening I only drank water the entire night. I was drunk at the end of the night.
You're picking up the other people's energy.
Exactly,
Oh,
and that was the wake-up call. That was that was spirit saying, "This stuff is real."
If that happened to me, I would think, I don't know what I would think. I think I'm crazy or something. Unless, I remember watching a show one time, and the person thought they had not marijuana, but something in the marijuana brownies, but they didn't. But yet they acted.
Oh, okay. So the placebo, that could be
a placebo. But this was the placebo. No, because you knew you were drinking water. Somebody would say, "Here's vodka," and it was water. Then that would be a placebo. Yeah, you would know the difference. That would be a placebo. So now that you know you're an empath, you were helping empaths, and how do you help an empath?
A lot of times they'll find me because they've had a pain or an illness that may or may not have been diagnosed, but they had no help. And usually they find my website and they resonate with the idea of this potential of absorbing energy from other people. So there's some conversation, there's a lot of tools and techniques that I share to really empower them to be able to be with incoming energy but not embody it. And this is very different from what we typically hear in this situation are things like put up a wall. Whether it's a brick wall or a mirror, put yourself in glass. Bubble.
Why don't you want to put a white protection around you to protect yourself? Isn't that healthy, to put like a white light around you?
For some, it can be very healthy and very helpful, and that's great for those people. Almost everyone that has come to me has tried that and it didn't work.
Oh, okay.
The reason being was because the empathic gift is one of true connection. And if we are blocking ourselves from that gift manifesting and expressing, we're really going against our inner grain, so to speak.
I understand. That makes sense.
And it actually becomes very draining, and we end up kind of trying to do this to people without the wall. We're kind of fighting what's coming our way.
Yeah.
I teach people to actually open up to what's coming in, use what's coming in for the benefit of yourself and the person you're with, and then to release in the moment whatever's not serving you. So that way people can connect, truly connect on a deep level, which I think is the empathic gift.
Would tapping help an empath?
Anything could help.
I mean, tapping is where you get rid of that, because an empath obviously is holding an energy that they don't need to hold in, and with tapping they tap it out. Emotional freedom technique. I was thinking maybe that would help.
There are many modalities, any of which can help to some degree. What I hear from the people that have done all those things and what I do as far as the difference between the two is I help them get to the source of it, not just deal with the symptom, but actually change the makeup so that they stop embodying. In other words, you can tap, and if it releases something, you feel great, but if you're not changing something about your life, you're likely going to reabsorb or recreate whatever was cleared out. That creates that hamster wheel of healing that so many people go through.
If we did a little role playing here, like say I came in and pretend to be one of your, would it help for the people watching to see how it works? I mean, I don't know what, like... Potentially,
I mean, it's hard to say.
Okay, so if I was an empath, I may come in and say I've got stomach aches and I don't know, I can't find why my stomach hurts. And you would say...
I can intuit why it's bothering you, but I can also hold the space to take you through exercises that allow you to see it, which to me is a lot more empowering, a lot more...
How do you hold the space?
Holding space is being in the presence of another person without any conditionality.
No judgment or anything?
No judgments, not even expectations, just a trusting and a knowing that what needs to happen can happen if we're holding that unconditional love. And then I take them through exercises, whether it's visualization, a number of different things. They can eventually start feeling what's going on there a lot more powerfully than they can on their own. It's just the nature of how it works. Everything is magnified a lot. Someone said they did some research. They came up with the number 11, meaning you can go 11 times deeper into your own process with someone holding a safe space than you can on your own. So you can just imagine, even if half of that's true, even if 2 or 3 times as much is normal, you're still going to start noticing things that you've
Yeah.
been holding that you might not have been present to prior to that.
So if you had more people holding the space, would that work faster for the person? Or
It can.
Yeah, because I started this intention group, and because I read Lynn McTaggart,
Yeah.
the intention experiment. I thought, wow, bringing all this good energy together, we can
Yeah.
do good things. Like we can manifest some good stuff.
I do lead groups. I'm in the process of 3 groups right now, right in the middle of them.
Oh, what are they?
They're groups that do what we're talking about, but in a group situation. So 2 of them are here in Portland, and 1 is by phone or online.
You just did an event here too. I mean, it's
Yeah.
after the fact, but what was it? What was the event?
The event was talking a lot about how to prevent incoming energy from really becoming part of you, how to prevent energetic overwhelm, but also the steps on what it takes to actually heal that at the root level. So I discussed that, and I actually take people out of the audience at random to work on them so people can see what's going on. Usually after that, people are much more excited about working with me because they can really see it, they can feel it.
If you can feel it, yeah, see
And
it and
imagine
feel
a room full of empaths, they're watching some process happen, they're really feeling on a deep level
Yeah.
what's happening, so they get really excited by seeing the possibilities.
That's great. When you said 40 million people, I'm thinking, well, there are more people in the world, but also we're so bombarded now. I mean, if you're an empath,
Yeah.
I don't watch the news, but people, you know, if you watch the news, it could get so depressing, and then you're on the, I try not to, I turn on the internet and I see, you know, terrible things. I don't want to see this, but we're bombarded by all this. Isn't that part of what's exasperate? Am I saying that right? Making it worse?
It can definitely make it worse, but that doesn't mean that hiding, putting our heads in the sand is
Right.
going to help either.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
really? But I hear a lot of metaphysical people don't watch news because it just,
Right.
I mean, it doesn't help them.
It doesn't help, and you know, it's part of life. You know, tragedy is
So
part
learn
of
how
life.
learn how to deal with it, because you're going to have to sooner or later.
Ideally, but also recognize that, you know, and this is nothing against the media per se. I understand
Yeah.
it's their job. And
No,
I understand
right,
why
that's
it
their
happens.
job, yeah.
A lot of times they accentuate the negative, and it's, you know, it's really sensationalized in a lot of
Oh,
ways.
it is definitely. I worked in the media. I know that for sure.
So you
I know that firsthand.
But there's also things like the Good News Network, which is
I
an online
know.
website. So to
Yes.
balance these things, and I get it, if someone needs to turn off the news, I support that. I don't
Yeah.
tell people, don't do this, you can't do that.
No, they should do what they
yeah.
feel like. You know, if you want,
Right.
you do what you want to do.
Right.
But don't let it hurt
eventually-
you.
What's that?
But don't let it hurt you.
Right, and eventually you want to get to a place where you can be in the presence of pain and not be affected by it in the way that you take it on, so it ruins your life as well. You do want to notice it and learn to practice compassion and recognize that most people are in pain.
So you can have compassion without letting it hurt
Exactly.
you.
That's
Yeah,
the
and
goal.
compassion is good because you're sending out
Yeah.
good energy. I mean, you're showing that you care. I mean, caring to me is important.
Definitely.
I know that my thing is when people are have a physical ailment, or I think I was a healer in another life, because first thing I want to do is put my arms around them and heal them, but I can't. You know, but that's my caring. But I don't think I don't get sick from it, so I'm not an empath. I think I might be a little sensitive, but I don't think I'm an empath.
Yes, some people know, some people don't,
Yeah.
some people just aren't, and everyone's different.
At least I don't think I am. On your
You
website,
may think again at the end of the conversation.
What was that?
You may think of that again in a different way after
Well, yeah.
the conversation.
I get home, I go, oh my God, I'm one of those. And on the website, you said you have something saying, what is the meaning of life? What did we come here to experience? And that, to me, is so profound, and I'm wondering, how does that play into what you do?
A lot of times, the people I work with are really looking for answers to those questions. I don't pretend to know all the answers to those questions, but I help people get to what's true for them
What does that have to do with being an empath?
a lot. Because if you're following your passion, you're in a much, let's say, higher vibration. You're much less susceptible to incoming negativity.
I get that, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like what I'm doing now, to me, that's what I was meant to do. And
Yeah.
I rarely get sick, and I just love what I'm doing. It gives me so much energy. So I always felt that was one of the most important things, is when people come into this world. I see a lot of people that are working just to make a living, and they're hating it. And I told my grandson, I said, we're going to find out what your talents are, what you love to do, because that is, to me, that's one of the most important things in the world. Then you're a happy person, and you're a good citizen, you're a good person in the world. And I don't know if you want to add to that.
You said it pretty perfectly.
I did, well. And you can interview me now.
Sure.
So we talked a lot about empaths, and you help them with protect their health. And then you said something about you fine-tune your gifts so that you can heal. Now, I'm just taking things down what you said from the research I did. So fine-tune your gifts so you can heal. That has something to do with no who you are, right?
Definitely. A lot of people I work with are healers or want to be some type of healer.
That's me.
Okay. Now, we all have our different gifts. Some are just great listeners. Some are fantastic massage therapists. I mean, everyone's different. And when we are following our life purpose, we're in a higher vibration, we'll be happier, like you said, and put that out there. And I forgot the...
the other one was share your gifts with others.
All right, okay. So because of that, because of the empathic overload, we get sometimes too sick to be able to share that gift. So if I can help someone heal what they're dealing with, then they can then bring that out into the world and help others heal with their gifts. So we're all helping each other at that place.
You are going to be doing, well, before I do that, you've written several books. We'll put them up later, but you have Self-Care for the Self-Aware, a guide for highly sensitive people, empaths, intuitives, and healers. So we talked mostly, there's nothing to add to that, I guess. And then, how do you say, Empathedia?
It's the book that no one can pronounce.
Yes.
Empathopedia. Empathopedia?
Thank you. That's easy for you to say. Healing for empaths, so it's pretty much the same information.
It's
so
much more detailed.
Okay, this was your first one. This is your second one.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to show those. I'm not showing them to the camera because we'll be able to show those later.
Okay.
And you said you may be doing something at the end of the summer here at New Renaissance?
Yeah, I usually work at New Renaissance about once or twice a year. Yeah.
And this is what you teach?
Yeah.
Empath. Is there anything you want to add? I think you were born this way, you found out you were supposed to do this, and you're doing it, and how do you like it here in the Northwest?
Maybe I should have come here earlier, I don't know.
Yeah, do you feel this is a mecca for people that are into metaphysics and healing?
It's different from the New York vibe, for sure. I think it's more aligned to the metaphysics, but that doesn't mean there wasn't metaphysics in New York.
Oh, no, right. I know. The reason I mentioned this because some of the interviews I've done with some people, they said this is the place to be if you're working in metaphysics.
Well, it's the place I am. I can't say where it's the place to be because some say Arizona is the best place. Some might say Hawaii. None of those sound really bad to me. So
yeah,
wherever spirit leads you, I think it's a good idea to follow.
Can I brag about you a little? Because I was reading about you, and I noticed that several people that are very famous, like Deepak Chopra, and Shirley MacLaine, Daniel Brinkley, they mention you. And how do they know about you? And in what?
Each one has a different story, but Daniel and Catherine Brinkley have been gracious enough to review the most recent books. I lectured with Deepak Chopra a few years back. He probably doesn't remember me, but that's fine.
You had to talk with him, but he did remember you. I saw, yeah. And Shirley MacLaine.
She recommended the work in her newsletter.
That's great.
It was a while ago.
She got into metaphysics later in life, I think.
I think so, yeah.
And for people who don't know who Daniel Brinkley is, he's the man that had that near-death experience. He got electrocuted, died.
Several times.
And he wasn't a very nice person before, but when he came back, he's a wonderful human being now. He found his true vocation. What a way to find it, though, huh?
He took the hard path to find out that.
He
yes,
did.
he did. But he's a very interesting fella, and I love him dearly. And hearing him talk and describing these near-death experiences is always, it's very enlightening and very comforting for a lot of people, especially if you've lost someone.
Yeah, I've interviewed several people on that, and I want to continue doing that because I get comments. It's very inspirational, helpful. This has been fun. Stuff I don't really know about. But is there anything else you want to add before I say thank you so much for joining me?
Thank you so much for joining me. Sounds great.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you, folks, for watching another edition of Pauline Interviews. Watch again. We'll be doing some other exciting topic here at New Renaissance.